Vittorio Candido Runco, or as we affectionately call him, Vic. Vic is from a family rooted in Italy. In the region of Calabria, of the province of Cosenza, in the town of Lago. The Runco family has deep roots in Lago. They are well connected to the Naccarato family, as you'll see as our story unfolds. Our story begins with Leopoldo and Rosina Runco, Vic's grandparents. Welcome to the Runco family. Vic's grandfather, Leopoldo, was born in 1871. He married Rosina Postero, born in 1866. Together they had 9 children. Here we meet 5 of their children: Pompeo, born in 1899, and Luisa, born in 1909, would both marry Naccaratos. Of their 9 children, 3 died very young. Rosina Runco died in 1930 at 64. Leopoldo died in 1951 at 79. As Pompeo grows up, both he and his sister Luisa are looking for a partner for life. This will tie the Runco and Naccarato families together. Pompeo connects with Elena Melania Naccarato as the first step in bringing these families together. They marry in 1926 and have 2 sons, Leopoldo and our star, Vittorio. Vic's father, Pompeo, died in 1967 at 68. His mother, Elena, died in 1984 at 79. His brother, Leo, died in 2017 at 90. Vic is forever young at 91. Leopoldo met Maria Pia Amate, and they married in 1968 and had 2 boys. Pompeo, named after his grandfather, and Fluvio. Pompeo married Barbara, and they have 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl. Fluvio married Luisa. They tipped the scales with 4 girls. Then Vic met Dorothy Southward, and they married in 1959 and added another girl to the Runco clan. Here is Elena, named after her grandmother. The newest Elena met Bernie Galanko in college, and they married in 1985. 2 children came along: Haley, born in 1994, and Keaton, born in 1997. They made room for Max the Wonder Dog. Let's look closely at the Naccaratos and see their connection with the Runcos. Grandpa Domenico married Mariana Aloe, and they had 7 children. Nicola and Elena Melania will connect with the Runcos, and there's Arturo, 4 boys and 3 girls. So let's continue with the Naccaratos and Runco's connection. You have one connection, so here's the second. Nicola meets Luisa Runco. And they marry in 1927. They have 7 children. Virginia sadly died in 5 months. They had 6 other children: Domenico, Mario, Arturo, Mariani, Rosa, and Carmela. So here's your scorecard. On the Runco side, Leopoldo and Rosina have 2 key children in this larger family: Pompeo and Luisa. Domenico and Mariana have their 2 key children, Nicola and Elena Meliana. Pompeo falls in love with Elena Meliana, while Luisa falls for Nicola. A brother and sister from each family brought these 2 clans together forever. Soon the Runcos grow and have 2 boys, Leopoldo and Vittorio. Domenico was born in Italy and was close to Leo and Vic. The Naccaratos have 5 more children. A brother and sister from each family is the magnet of these 2 clans. More about these unique characters is revealed in their heritage. Pompeo Runco was born into a turbulent Italy in 1899. Pope Leo VIII wrestles with the new kings of Italy, King Umberto and then Victor Emmanuel III, over the Papal States and the boundaries of the Italian kingdom. Pius X became Pope after the unification of the Italian peninsula and saw Rome and the Papal States fall. Pope Benedict XV took over and helped bring peace. Both Pompeo Runco and Nick Naccarato fought in World War I. The War to End All Wars, in which 650,000 Italian men died. Nick was awarded several medals and the title of Cavaliere. Troops celebrated the agreement to lay down their arms on Armistice Day, November 11, 1918. Leaders arrived in Versailles, including Italian Prime Minister Vittorio Emanuele Orlando, to meet in the Hall of Mirrors and sign the treaty. After the war, Nick Naccarato was off to America so he could support his family. Nick arrived at Ellis Island along with many immigrants seeking jobs so they could send money home to their families. Pompeo Runco came over to America in 1921. In 1926, Pompeo went back to Lago, and Nick followed the next year in 1927. Pompeo meets and marries Elena Meliana Naccarato in 1926. Leopoldo is born in February of 1927, and Pompeo is off again to America. He returns in early 1928, now as an American citizen, and they have their second son, our star, Vittorio. His father heads back to America. Vic is born into conflict as the fascist party has taken root under Prime Minister Mussolini. The Pope, the King, and Mussolini finally separate Italy from the Papal State and sign the Lateran Pacts, creating the Vatican City as a separate state. When Nick Naccarato arrives in Lago, he meets with his sister Elena. Nick met her sister-in-law, Luisa Runco, and Elena made the fix-up with Luisa's family, and they married in 1927. As Nick was on his way to America, his first child, Domenico, was born in 1928. In 1928, both Pompeo and Nick are in America. The Wall Street crash of 1929 affects not only America, but the world economy. Work was scarce, but they survived. President Hoover didn't do much to get the U.S. out of the Depression. Mussolini took advantage and became a stronger leader. Hitler also used the Depression to take over Germany. Finally, Franklin Roosevelt became president, and America began to get back on its feet. In 1932, Nick Naccarato sent for his wife Luisa and their son Dom to join him in America. By now, Nick had gotten work in western Pennsylvania in New Kensington. There, he and Luisa had 5 more children. You remember them all, don't you? Nick worked for Alcoa and was very generous in helping his family in Italy. World War II broke out in Europe in 1939, and Pompeo could not go home. Germany seemed to have control all over Europe. The power shifted when the Americans built lots of airplanes and planned the Allied attack against the Germans on D-Day. The U.S. took control of the air and bombed out major cities like Berlin, and then the Allied forces freed other major cities like Paris. Soon victory was established in Europe in 1945. After the war, Pompeo went back to Lago. And Vic met his father for the first time when he was 17. Soon after, Pompeo went back to America and sent for his oldest son, Leopoldo, since he could come under his father's citizenship. Leo missed the deadline. Then Vic decided to come to America in April of 1950. On April 15, 1950, Vic left on a transatlantic ship as an American citizen. And arrived 10 days later in New York Harbor. A family friend met Vic in New York City and took him to the bus station for his trip to Pittsburgh. There his father Pompeo was waiting to take him to New Kensington. They would live with Pompeo's sister Louisa, her husband Nick Naccarato, and their 6 children. Nick was off to work as the kids went off to play. Pompeo stayed with his son Vic for 6 months to help him get acclimated to America, since Vic did not know English. Vic's first job was at a dry cleaner's. Vic loved to dance and met Dorothy Rosemond Southward at a dance. They married in 1959. The bridal party included Naccaratos and Dot's family and friends. Betty Ann Graff, Mariana Naccarato, Yvonne Smith, Karen Ann Roll, Larry Dupain, Albert Franklin, Arturo Naccarato, Dom Naccarato, Vic's best man, Evan Dupain, Dot's brother-in-law, and Nancy Dupain. Vic and Dot took off for Miami, Florida for their honeymoon. This was Dot's first time out of town. Once back home, they managed their beauty salon in Tarentum. Vic and Dot had a daughter in 1960 and named her after Vic's mother, Elena Melania. Vic's parents, Pompeo and Elena Melania, met Dot and Elena for the first time in 1966. Elena traveled with her parents to Italy and met her uncle Leo, as well as others in the Runco Naccarato family. Elena met Bernie Galanco in college, and they married in 1985. They have 2 children, Haley, born in 1994, and Keaton, born in 1997. As Haley and Keaton grew, they spent lots of time with Vic, their Nanu, and Dot, their Nana. Much of it was in Florida since Vic and Dot retired early.
Hi Nanu, this is Haley. I just wanted to show you some things that I wanted to say about you and how much I love you and how you've affected my life. I miss you. So I call my grandfather Nanu, and that was really the extent of how much I thought about my heritage when I was a little girl. That started to change in relation to him in about 3rd or 4th grade. I remember I got an assignment that was about having to interview an immigrant. So I went to him and I asked him a few questions, and that was really the first time that he and I talked heart to heart, and that I really started to appreciate just his integrity and his strength and all of his experiences. As another example of that, my mom and I kind of used to tease and say he was very of his era, and back in Italy, he supported Mussolini, and he was actually the one who corrected us, and he told us the coolest story. He said back in the war he used to do translations for Italy, and he would actually help the Allies by sending in mistranslations. And that always stuck in my memory as one of the coolest things I've ever heard about him. And it would have been enough just to have him as a loving, kind, affectionate grandfather the way he was, but he was really always so much more than met the eye too, and I always appreciated constantly learning new things about him.
I noticed, I learned a lot more about him in recent years with helping, the times that I've helped out with my mom and helping him out down there. Just how loving of a husband and father that he is, and how selfless he is. And I remember like the last day we were leaving Florida, he came outside with, it was like when you turn on the car and like in the early in the morning, there's like fog, you can't really see. Like the windows are all like fogged up from the outside. And he came out and like took off his sweatshirt and wiped the whole entire car down before we left so we could see getting out. It's just like stuff like that that I've always noticed about him. And even when I didn't know a lot about him when I was younger, I could always feel like a really strong generosity and love from him. I just say I love you and thank you for showing me all these good things about a really good person I didn't know before. I really appreciate the grandfather and father and husband he's been to his family, and I just love him for that. Yeah.
Vittorio Candido Runco. After Elena's divorce, John Kramer has been her partner and as such an instrumental part of Vic's life. Dot keeps on keeping on at 85, and Vic is forever young at 91. Family life in Lago, Italy. Vic and Dot visited Lago often to be with the Runco and Naccarato families. Lago, Italy is a colorful town, full of life. Vittorio Candido Runco.
When you're toasting, what do you say?
Quando lo prendo e cinque l'abbraccio e voi due brindisi faccio. Un pranzo senza vino è come una giornata senza sole.
Nice birdie.
Vittorio Candido Runco, A Century of Living.